to some people around here. And sometimes just think about, wow, I had this funny thought that I never had. If you never had, is the thought yours? Or you just got an intuition, quote unquote, from somebody else? Well, those are three aspects of the alignment: the philosophical thought, the scientific knowledge, and the moral teaching. So the moral teachings are exactly what dictate the quality of the energy that we put in our bodies, in our minds, in our whole system. What is moral? It's different from each and every one of us. But we know that the code is inside of us, which is love. In the end, it's just love. If we learn to love ourselves, it's easy to love the others. But if we don't love ourselves, if we punish ourselves somehow, what kind of love are you going to give to somebody else? It's kind of a defective love. It's kind of a not full in meaning. Haroldo Dutra Dias, which is one of the greatest speakers from Brazil, he says that within Spiritism, religion is understood as a conduct. Again, moral teachings, conduct, as a moral aspect, as a living practice. Spiritism regards Jesus' moral teachings as a universal moral code. For Spiritists, Jesus is not an object for worship, but a role model for behavior. What that means? Spiritism is a way of living. It's not a way of learning. It's not, you hear a lot of speakers around everywhere saying that vision without attitude is illusion. And that's what it is. It doesn't matter. You can accrue a lot of information if you never use it, if you never go for it, if you never try it. It's still in you, but you didn't help anybody with that. And that's what we're here, to help ourselves and help the others. Right? Why we help ourselves first? It's the principle of the airplane. Right? You put the mask first on you. Otherwise, you're not going to help anybody else. So, take care of yourself and then help the others. But do take care of yourself. Don't pretend you're taking care of yourself. Because most of the time, that's what we do. We pretend we're taking care of ourselves. We invent, we create lies to ourselves to make us feel, quote unquote, better. And by the end of the day, when you go to bed, of course, your conscience is there like Jiminy Cricket, saying, hey, pal, you can fool everybody, but you cannot fool me. You cannot fool yourself. So whatever you think you're doing probably is not working that good. So let's think about our conduct. Let's think about the moral aspect. Let's think about living as a practice of conduct, moral aspects of the universal moral code that Jesus left for us. How can we do that? How can we embrace that? Well, maybe thinking about the main enemy that we have to that, which is, what is the mother of all problems and issues? Any clues? There's no right and wrong. I changed the first slide because the first slide was saying me, myself, and I. Maybe that gives you a clue. What is it? Come on. Vain. That can be vain. Let's try again. What can it be? Come on, don't say everybody at the same time because I cannot hear you. Egocentrism, selfishness, studies of all vices, and you see that selfishness at the bottom of them all. Combat them as you will never succeed extirpating them until you attack the evil in its root. Where is the root of selfishness? The lack of understanding of it. Because that is a philosophy has a paradox to selfishness. To a certain extent, as I said, the example of the airplane, it's good. You have to take care of yourself before you take care of others. But to what extent? When is too much? So every time you are in touch with your roots, every time you're in touch with Jesus' lessons, then you have a moral, you have a balance, you have a scale to see, yeah, I'm equal, oh, I'm overweight, or something like that. So selfishness can be very good. But sometimes it's not. The most generous thing people can do for themselves is to be selfish. This is what psychologists say. And that creates a lot of problems because, yes, we understand with our hearts, we don't put it in our brains, and we just believe in what we want to believe. That's the difference. What we make out of words. Words are there. Interpretation is different. I have a great friend of mine that say the facts are negotiable. Perception is not. So the way that you understand those letters, those words, will dictate how you're going to act after that. If you put it to yourself, if you make it fit to your model, to your avatar that you have so far, probably will work for you to a certain extent. But if you think about this in order to see what can I correct, what can I change, then we're thinking. Then we're trying to do something different. Is it going to happen every day when I wake up? Probably not. Because a habit doesn't start from day 1 to day 2. You have to keep on doing until it becomes a habit. But we can try. That's the good thing. That's the good news. We always can try. We always have this kind of teachings. So why not? Let all our efforts tend to this end, for selfishness is the veritable social gangrene. That is a great image. It's a gangrene because it's going to take a little bit of your toes, then the whole foot, then the whole leg, and then the whole body. And all of a sudden, you're one piece of nothing if you let that talks faster and talk louder than yourself. So again, most of the decisions come from the heart to the brain, and that's why we have to educate our heart. Because normally we go with the flow. The flow normally is not the way that we need to go. Everyone has his own flow. So when you find out what is your flow, then you can go with the flow. But normally we go with everybody's flow, right? 2 main necessities that psychologists tells to everybody from man has: to be loved and to pertain. What do you do to be loved and to pertain? That's the question. And from the things that you do, are those all right? Or sometimes you do something kind of in the gray area, in the shady area, just to be with that group, just to be seen as a great guy, seen as, wow, a role model. When you, deep inside, you know that you're not, does it worth it? And that's what we need to ask ourselves. Oh, all those questions come from the Spiritist books, by the way. Selfishness so far from diminishing, increases with the civilization that seems to strengthen and intensify it. How can the effect be destroyed by the cause? So, if we all multiply this kind of feeling, how can we destroy it? What is the main plan to eradicate selfishness? Because we all know this world, this planet is changing. So you have to eradicate selfishness in order to complete the change. How can we do that? Well, the plan is simple. The greater the development of evil, the more hideous it seems to be. It was necessary for selfishness to do a vast amount of harm in order that you might see the necessity of extirpating it. So, what is this saying here? That normally we don't move until it hurts a lot. Normally we stay in our comfort zone until it hurts a lot. And when it hurts, you stand up, you go, and you change. And you do something else. Otherwise, we're going to stay in our same bed made of nails and like a oriental fakir, I don't know, the guy that slips on it, we just pretend that it's not hurting. We just pretend that everything is okay, that our life is okay the way it is. But the situation got to a point so deep that it started hurting to a point that I need to change. And when you need to change, you change. So we learn with pain, right? We should learn with love, but we learn with pain. When it hurts so bad, that's the time that we change. And that's a learning. So in that sense, is it pain real bad? Because if pain doesn't exist, how should we learn? Oh, Peter, of course, if pain doesn't exist, we learn by love. Do we? We have multiple examples to ourselves and around to prove that we don't. We keep on going the same way. We don't change. So, again, the greater the development of an evil, the more hideous it seems to be. And when it's hideous enough, we say, I don't want that anymore for my life. I need to change. We could do differently, but normally we don't. By what means can selfishness be destroyed? Selfishness will be gradually weakened as your moral life obtains predominance over your material life. What is saying here? What is more important? A Maserati or help people? I put you guys in a tight spot right now, huh? Because Maserati for guys is like, oh, Maserati. I love it. Help people, takes time, takes effort. I have to go to places that normally I don't like. And normally people that helps others, they don't say too much. They don't broadcast that to others. Yesterday I got to find out that one of our friends that do the fraternal counseling, she does the Meals on Wheels. I don't know if you guys heard about this program. She has to deliver meals to people that don't have conditions to purchase and sometimes not even to get out of the house. So she goes to places that really, we don't want to go. You get into the porch, you smell cigar, you smell booze, you smell things that you don't want to be in. You don't want to be there. But what is the greatest thing? You are helping somebody. Some people are so out of tune that they work like they're talking to a maid. Oh, put the food on the table, lock the door, and get out of here. You're doing a favor, and they pay you back like this. But this is the predominance of the moral life. This is the predominance of the heart looking to what is focusing on what is important. I'm helping somebody. Maybe this person doesn't help herself, but I'm helping. I'm trying to do the best that I can to help somebody. How many times a day we can help somebody and we don't? We don't know, right? Because we don't focus on it. But if you focus, if you spend some time of your day by focusing, okay, now, how can I help somebody? Who needs help? Most every one of us need help. We just need to find a way of how to do it. You feel so good. Tell me, have you ever felt happy after helping somebody or after changing somebody's mood? Why? Why? Because this person changed her energy, his energy, and sent it back to you. And that's free. That's free of charge. It's just a matter of thinking. It's just a matter of looking for opportunities. Spiritism, when rightly understood, calls you to look at everything from a point of view so elevated that the sentiment of personality is lost, so to say, in contemplation of the immensity, in destroying the sentiment of self-importance. By showing its real nature, Spiritism necessarily combats selfishness. You are as important as your brother. You are as important as anybody else. One of the greatest things teach that Mother Teresa of Calcutta gave was when the nurse came to her and say, "Sister, I felt so powerless. I'm just a drop in the ocean." And she looked at her and say, "The ocean is made of drops. Take all of the drops and there's no ocean." What she said, it doesn't matter if you're small. It doesn't matter if you're just a drop. Do your part. Don't look to the side to look at the person that is not doing his or her part. Look at the other ones that are doing their parts. Keep on going. Keep on pushing yourself forward. Keep on looking for people that will motivate you to keep doing what you do. Disseminate this kind of energy. And all of a sudden, there is no selfishness because you work for a greater cause. As I said, if you study a little bit of speaking, public speaking, you're going to see that one of the fears, sometimes it's worse than the fear of death, come in front of a public audience and talk. Tim just did it. He came here, although he doesn't like to do it, just because that was his time to do it. Who's going to do that? I'll do it. This needs to go. This needs to keep on going. Everybody's here to see something happening. I'm going to put my hands on my pocket and say, okay, who's going to do it? Hey, can you come here and give the lecture, please? Can you do that? No? But if it was just you, and I think you're coming here for a month or so, 2 months, but if it was just you, and you see the value and the importance of this keep on going, you're probably going to come up here and do something, even if it's little. And that's the thing. That's the thing. It doesn't matter how big it is, how articulated you are. What's important is to try, is to give your best, no matter what. Then you're going to combat. Then you're going to try to eradicate selfishness. Because it's not about you. It's about the community. It's about what's happening here. So this is powerful. This is really, really powerful. Men often render selfish by experience of the selfishness of others, which make him feel the need of defending himself against them. What that means? Our focus It's never on ourselves. It's always on somebody else. Our focus is, oh, I act like this because he does like this. I act like that because she called me names, so I call her names back. I fight because he started a fight. There's always a because, or there's always a but, as we say. No. There's always a choice. Are you going to accept it or not? If I come to you and start offending you, and you don't let yourself to be offended, who the offenses belong to? Myself. I have to deal with that. You don't let yourself to get contaminated by the offense, which in the end is not like bad energy. Do you like to buy, are you going to a 7-Eleven and say, hey, give me a box of bad energy. I want to take home and enjoy it. We don't, right? This is the mind. But what the heart doesn't analyze the situation and buy it right off the bat. Especially when it's at home, especially when it comes from somebody that you have a lot of history with, and you are always ready to analyze through a different lens. Most of us want to be leaders, or at least leaders of our homes, right? How can you be a leader if you cannot live with 2, 3, or 4, or 5 people in your home? There is no way. A leader has to deal well with people. If you cannot do it at your home, how do you think you're going to work with a lot of people under yourself? You're going to mess up. You're going to do something different. You're going to do something wrong. So the first teaching, the first lesson, the first time that we have to be aware of our selfishness, it's at home. It's when you are about to repeat that action that you did 1,058 times before. Put a flag. Say, hey, I saw this movie before. And I know how it ends. Why am I going to do that again? This is being emotionally intelligent. Also, if she is coming the same way over and over and over, that's the way she is. She's not dealing with her ghosts. She's not dealing with her problems. I'm going to try to help her? Yeah. To what extent? Remember, we don't say amen. We say so be it. Why? If you cannot change somebody, the person doesn't want to change at this point, are you going to keep on trying? Up to you declare the Third World War at home? Doesn't work. So be it means, at this moment, I cannot change. As a matter of fact, we cannot change anybody but ourselves. But at this moment, this conversation will not lead us to anywhere. So let's quit right now. Let's talk other day. Maybe you're ready, maybe you're not. At this moment, it doesn't worth it. You will end in fight. So it's going to get worse. Because right now we're just frustrated. Because you have your point of view, I have mine, and they don't meet. But if you keep on going, there's going to be a fight. And that's going to be worse. Let's stop right here. Who's going to stop? Oh, she started. She has to stop. Really? And that's how you're gonna work yourself? You're going to work your virtues? I don't think so. You're going to stop. Because you realize that is not helpful, that is not healthy. You do it. Don't wait for somebody to do it for you. Amidst present overflow of selfishness, much virtue is needed to enable a man to sacrifice his own interest for the sake of others. who often feel but little gratitude for such abnegation. So what's the example of the lady that delivered the food and Meals on Wheels? You go out of your way, you use your car, you spend your gas, you spend your time. You go to places that you don't want to go. If they invite you to go, you're probably going to say no or excuse yourself somehow. But because you're delivering a meal, you're doing something greater, then you go to the place and what you got? Little gratitude for our abnegation. Have you felt like this before? But that's a trick right here. If you walk the extra mile in somebody else's shoes over and over and over and over, and all of a sudden you quit, and the person say, "Why did you quit?" Your answer will be, "I'm tired of doing this," and never say thank you. What you're going to hear back? "I never ask you." Whose fault is that? This is not abnegation. You are doing because you want to hear thank you. This is not abnegation at all. This is your pride. This is yourself trying to be recognized maybe in the future, but this is not real virtue. And that's why you get frustrated when somebody tells you, "But I never ask you." Yeah, don't walk the other path, the other people's path. They need to walk by themselves. You can meet them in the middle. You can decide where to go when they walk their extra mile to meet you. But if you go that way, we do that to our child, we do that to our spouses. And what we hear in the end is mostly, "But I didn't ask you." It's a slap in our faces, but the fault is ours. So this doesn't have anything to do with real unselfishness. Unselfishness is do something because you see the value on doing that. And it doesn't matter what happens, you're going to keep on doing because you know what you're doing. You know the result, you know the value. Everybody tells nowadays, "Oh, I'm not going to tell you my price before I explain you the value of the product, of my service." Do they really know the value? Do they really know what they're saying or what they're selling? It's everybody in touch with themselves because in the end, all we purchase, all we're looking for, all we're running for is emotions. You don't go to buy a purse. You go to buy the feeling of having the new purse, or showing to your friends, or going to a party. The feeling is what you purchase, not the purse. So what is the greatest feeling of all? Maybe the one that we don't understand completely, love for the others. I don't. Really, I don't. And sometimes it's so easy to get frustrated. Just let yourself go. Try it. It's going to come in a second. But you get self-aware of your feelings. Ooh, takes a lot. Takes a lot of vigilance. Takes a lot of effort. And that's why it's so hard. Because we don't want to, at this point of the day, when we're tired, when we decide a lot of things during our day, we don't want to think about it anymore. It's too hard. I use my brain all day long. I don't want to think right now. Please, Peter, stop messing with my brain. No, I want to talk to your heart. So if I'm messing your brain, I'm doing a good job because I want your brain out of this equation at all. I want to talk to your heart. It's different. Selfness being inherent in the human race will not always constitute an obstacle to the reign of perfect goodness upon the earth. So, because we have selfishness, never ever gonna see good on planet Earth. And they say it's certain that selfishness is our greatest evil, but it belongs to the inferiority of the spirits incarnated upon the earth, and not to the human race as such. What are they saying here? Selfishness is particular. It's not general. It's not something that the whole race inherit. It's not something that the whole human race have it. And what that means? Have you upon the earth none who have divested themselves from selfishness and who practice charity? Don't we have anybody to see as a whole model? Maybe a guy with the first letter of the name is J or B, or I don't know, M. We have so many around us, but what happened? We put them on a pedestal. Why? Because if they are on a pedestal, we cannot be like them. They are super. They're ultra. I cannot get to them. So let me tell a little story. Everybody knows Van Gogh, right? Do you think that he was a genius? How many of you think Van Gogh was a genius? Great painter, right? Yeah. He was dyslexic, illiterate, arrogant. He has all the not so great qualities. Also, he was a big loser. He was fired in Geneva, in Rome, in 5 Italian cities. One of them, he was rejected by one of the big families, the Medici family, and another rich guy hired him, not as a painter, as a musician, and as a party planner. And he gives to him this task. Well, we're going to have a wedding. It's going to have 300 people. You have to feed them. And he said, well, I'm going to make a huge cake. And the guy said, yeah, it better be huge because it's going to feed 300. And he said, no, you're not understanding. You don't understand. It's going to be huge. So huge that people is going to have the party inside the cake. He was curious. He was creative. He was interested in things. And he started analyzing and working on his project. He hired architects. He hired pastry guys. He hired all the good professionals that work in Geneva by the time. He made the cake. It was done. By the day of the wedding, he was the first one to get there. And by his surprise, the cake was eaten by all the critters that live in Geneva. Birds, rats, a lot of worms. Everything was eaten. And he panicked because he didn't have a plan B. And for a long time, he was taken by the people of Geneva as the guy that couldn't even feed 300 people as a party planner. Do you think that he gave up? He kept on studying. He kept on getting interested in things. He kept on being curious. He kept on learning. And all of a sudden, he gathered all the people from Geneva and say, good people from Geneva, I know that you are pointing me when I pass by the streets as the guy that couldn't even feed 300 people in the party. But let me tell you, I can feed 300 people. If I can feed Jesus, I can feed 300 people. And he showed the masterpiece of what is the greatest paint of him? Jesus and the apostles on the Last Supper. And because of that, because of one great peace, every single mistake of him disappeared. He was not the loser anymore. He was the genius. He was the genius. That's how society presents us. So, coming back to this, isn't that anybody that do good in planet Earth? Yes, there are. But they are presented like such superpowers that we don't even try to get close to them. Search for their history. They're as humans as we are. They're as flesh as we are. They have vicissitudes as we do. They have problems as we do. So they're not that super. What they did, they just tune up their hearts and let them dictate the goodness that they had inside. All of us can do that. It's just a matter of understanding. It's just a matter of being creative and being curious. Never give up, reluctant. We can do that. Oh, but you talk about Leonardo da Vinci. Yes, the guy that was illiterate, that has a lot of problems, and we don't have half of those problems, but he's Leonardo da Vinci. He was put in here. We all can be Leonardos. We all can be Leonardos. We have to try. Search our parts of the social organism, from the family to society and countries, and the causes, all the influence which ostensibly or hiddenly excite, nourish, and develop the feelings of selfishness. Knowing the cause and the remedy will present itself. What is he saying here? Can I change you? Can I tell you that you have a problem if you don't realize that you do have a problem? Or if you don't agree that you have a problem? If you don't have a problem, you don't have a problem, period. But if you search for the causes of your pain, you're probably going to find the remedy for that. Because it's inside, it's within you. It's not out there. It's not a medicine the planet Earth can send it to us. It's something from inside. If an egg that is about to flourish with a new life is cracking by the outside, what happens to the life? It dies, right? But if it cracks from inside, life happens. We are these eggs. We have to crack from inside. But we normally allow external forces to crack our eggs all the time. So there's no life on it. There's no life coming from outside, only from inside. From what we discover, what we find inside ourselves. All the remainings is to destroy them, if not wholly at once, at least in part, and the poison will gradually be eliminated. The cure may be long because there are many causes, but it's not impossible. There's people that they want to get to a diet, or they want to get to some fitness plans or whatever it is, and from the night to the day they want to be thin. Yes, I didn't get to bed thin and woke up with my belly. I'm not going to go to my bed with my belly and wake up thin. It's a process. It's a process. It takes time. And you have to will to give this time to happen. We have to be resilient. But we have to have the goal. So focus is the key. Focus to the greater good. When we master the art of healing the characters, as we master how to handle intelligence, what is he saying there? The art of healing our personalities. The art of healing our emotions. Instead of the art of handling our brains. we will be able to correct them, just as you can to do to the new plants. This art, however, requires a lot of tact, a lot of experience, and a profound observation. It is a serious error to think that to succeed, all we need is to have sufficient knowledge of science. Vision without action equals illusion. We have to act, we have to test, we have to see if it works, and we have to redo it, or we have to keep on going. How many times a day we do that? Not that many. How many times a day we have not so good experience? Probably the same amount of the not too many. Right? So, here's the thing. Educate your heart, and then your focus will come to the right place, and your brain and your mind will follow that. Thank you, my friends.